Randaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna Hindi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Sri Guru Hare Krishna Namo Vishnu Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Srimad Sankirtani Sutani. Så det er både 5 og 6, ikke?
Er det det? Ja, måske. Vi skal læse 5 og så præsentere.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we're reading from 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10, Battle between the demigods and Rinpoche's Shuram, text 5 and 6. So we take 6 together. Nunam Svatapara Loka Veda Parasangatam Yadi Veda Na Yacheta Na Iti Na Yad Ishvara Nunam Svata Paroloko Naveda Parasangatam Yati Vedana Yecheta Nitina Yadishvara Nunam Svata Paroloko Naveda Parasangatam Yati Vedana Yacheta Nitina Yadishvara Nunam Svata Paroloko Naveda Parasangatam Yati Vedana Yacheta Nitina Yadishvara
Nunam Svata Paroloko Naveda Parasangatam Yadi Vedana Yacheta Nitina Yadishvara Nunam Svartha Paroloko Naveda Parasankatam Yadi Vedana Yacheta Netina Yadishvara
Nunam Svata Paroloko Naveda Parasankatam Yadi Vedana Yacheta Nitina Yadishvara
Nunam certainly
Certainly.
Svatapara in sense gratification,
interested only in sense gratification,
in this life or the next.
in this life or the next.
Loka, materialistic people in general.
Materialistic people in general.
Not Veda. I know. Sorry, just know.
No.
Parasangatam, the pain of others.
The pain of others.
Yadi, if Veda, no. Not. Yajeta, would ask. No. Iti, thus. Naha, does not say. Yat, since. Ishvara, able to give charity.
Able to give charity.
Take text 5 and 6 translation. Shideva rucho kinnu tatushjayam brahman pungsang bhutanukam vinam bhavat vidhana bhavatam punyashloke karmanam. The demigods replied, O exalted Brahmana, pious persons like you, whose activities are praiseworthy, are very kind and affectionate to people in general. What can such pious souls give for the benefit of others? They can give everything, including their bodies. In text 6. Those who are too self-interested beg something from others, not knowing of others' pain. But if the beggar knew the difficulty of the giver, he would not ask for anything. Similarly, he who is able to give charity does not know the beggar's difficulty. Similarly, he who is able to give charity does not know the beggar's difficulty, for otherwise he would not refuse to give the beggar anything he might want as charity. Purport. This verse describes two people, one who gives charity and one who begs for it. A beggar should not ask charity from a person who is in difficulty. Similarly, one who is able to give charity should not deny a beggar. These are the moral instructions of the Shastra. Chanakya Pandit says, Sanyamite param chavo vinase niyate sati. Everything within this material world will be destroyed, and therefore one should use everything for good purposes. If one is advanced in knowledge, he must always be prepared to sacrifice anything for a better cause. At the present moment, the entire world is in a dangerous position under the spell of godless civilization. The Krishna conscious movement needs many exalted learned persons who will sacrifice their lives to revive God consciousness throughout the world. We therefore invite all men and women advanced in knowledge to join the Krishna conscious movement and sacrifice their life for a great cause of reviving the God consciousness of human society. Om Jnanatirandhasya Gyanandana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Ropa Kadamayam Tatachi Swapadandikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Parakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Stya Sri Rupam Sagajatam Saganadagnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Sarvatucham Harijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padang Sakana Lalita Sri Sakan Vitam Shya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandha Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneswari Vrisavana Sadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarupyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Govinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Deva Uchu Kimnu Tatushtayam Brahman Pumsam Bhutan Kambinam Bhavat Vidhana Mahatam Punyas Lokitya Karmanam. The demigods replied, O exalted Brahmana, pious persons like you, whose activities are praiseworthy, are very kind and affectionate to people in general. What can't such pious souls give for the benefit of others? They can give everything, including their bodies. Nunam swata paroloko, naveda parasankatam, yadi vedana yechita ditinaha yadiswara. Those who are too self-interested beg something from others, not knowing of the other's pain. But if the beggar knew the difficulty of the giver, he would not ask for anything. Similarly, he who is able to give charity does not know the beggar's difficulty, for otherwise he would not refuse to give the beggar anything he might want as charity. So this is of course in relationship to the Dichi being asked to give up his body. So this is the, I don't know if to say the highest charity, but that's charity. Right? You ask people to give some money, that's difficult for most people. You give money, money is the honey. It's very difficult to get up their wallet. We experience it every day in Sankirtan. Like sometimes, and when they get the wallet up, they say, oh, here's 2 kronas, here 5 kronas, here 10 kronas. So people are very attached to things, but even more attached to the body. So that's very, very difficult to give up. And we can see in all kinds of situations, one is ready to do anything and everything to maintain the body. Even, like I think Prabhupada mentioned here in one of the previous verses, even all one's possessions, everything that is near and dear to one can easily give up to protect the body. But there's even higher charity. In one sense, it's not so difficult to die for Krishna, but it can be very difficult to live for Krishna. So to give up the body actually is a great opportunity. Right? That's why Parikshit Maharaj, he's in ecstasy. He knows just 7 days and I'm on my way back. I don't need to take care of all this hassle and maintaining this whole kingdom and administrating. And I can just sit down and this very, very a merciful snake bird will come and just bite me, and that's it. And the Dikshit the same. He's preaching a little to the demigods because that's the nature of a devotee. He's constantly using whatever facility, whatever opportunity he takes, just for preaching. Whatever happens, he tries to see how can I use this for preaching? How can I use this in a positive way? Even something so-called negative. Because there is nothing negative. Because everything is ordained by Krishna, everything is taking place by Krishna's sanctioning. So that's why everything is favorable. We just need to learn to see in which way it is favorable. How we can apply our intelligence to use this situation to expand or enhance my Krishna consciousness and the Krishna consciousness of others. So the Dichi is taking the opportunity to preach to them. Because, hey, can't you see, it's very painful to leave the body, everyone is very dear to it, the body is very dear to everyone, it's very painful. So how can you ask me that kind of charity? Like Prabhupada says here in the purport, one shouldn't ask charity if one knows how difficult it is for the giver and vice versa. So the Dichi says, how can you ask me this? And then the demigod starts arguing and saying, but you are a very pious person. You are a very pious person, and for a pious person there's nothing he cannot give. So then he says, okay, here you have my body, here you have it. Completely detached. So, but wouldn't that be a great opportunity? Let's say somebody came and said, okay, you can die now and then you go back home, back to Godhead. Right? Wouldn't that be great? But maybe we would still be very afraid. And maybe we would still hesitate, am I actually ready to go back home, back to God? Am I ready to give up this body? Is there still a lot of identification and thinking, this is me? So I'll be unable to leave the body at will. Of course we can't leave it at will by committing suicide. But if Krishna somehow puts us in a situation that is very dangerous, and we might lose our life, we should see it as a great opportunity. This is the way. Maybe Krishna is calling me back. And sometimes Krishna does. We hear devotees, car accidents, and they leave their body, or something happens, they are attacked on a Hainam. We hear so many things happening, there's a war breaking out. So many things happening when devotees are leaving. So, great opportunity. But to live for Krishna can be very, very, very difficult. Because you have to endure again and again and again. Right? That the mind is coming with all these proposals and all these suggestions and all these temptations. So please, use your life for me again, the mind will say. And we will say, no, I want to use my life for Krishna, because I want to go back to Godhead. And I want to please Krishna. Whatever the level of purity where our motive is. But no, you say to the mind. But it's not enough to say no to the mind, because the mind will start all over again. And the mind, because it's so very tricky, so he will trick us, the mind will trick us. So that, oh, now the mind is Krishna consciousness, so now I can listen to him again. And then we listen to the mind, and the mind takes us away. So very difficult to take the fight every day, fight the mind, living for Krishna. Because that's really what Krishna consciousness is all about, living for Krishna. Using our life. Anasaktasya vishayanya tatana prayunjana. Nirbandha Krishna sambandha. Yuktai vairagya pusthyate. Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion, speaks about Yuktai vairagya. So many things we can apply in Krishna's service. But most important is to apply our minds and our whole existence, our consciousness for Krishna. That's more difficult. Because again, it's over a long period of time. Dying is quick, fast. That's it, you're gone. But living is difficult. So dedicating our lives to Krishna is really what Krishna is asking of us and expecting from us. That we dedicate our lives. That's where Krishna wants us to end up, when there's nothing else. But very mercifully, Krishna says, okay, but you can start anywhere. 12th chapter, he says, there's so many levels. You can just get in there where you feel that you can take a little step toward me. And if you take a little step towards me, it's easy to take the next step. It's easy to take the next step. But at one point, it becomes more and more difficult. At one point, it becomes more and more difficult. Because we see, hey, I've been practicing this for so long, and the mind again is like constantly drilling there and saying, maybe I should do something else. Maybe I should brahmacharize, maybe I should get married. We need a change here. Or maybe I should not live in the temple. Maybe I should make my own little environment where I can facilitate my own little Krishna consciousness. So many things the mind is constantly preaching. So unless we are very, very firm and very very one-pointed in our attention, it'll be very difficult to endure. Very difficult in the long run. So that's why we need to come to a level where we're actually strong. We're stronger than addiction. Because we're not saying, yeah, you can take my body. We say, no, you can take my existence. That's really what we're getting into Krishna, our whole existence. And that's the charity Krishna is asking. Ultimately, he's asking, I want everything. I want everything. And we see so many examples in Shastra of persons doing that. One of my favorite examples is Madhavendra Puri. Here, actually, the whole story starts in Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda and many of the devotees, they go to pilgrimage in, I think that they go to Vrindavan first. Anyway, they end up in Ramuna. And in Ramuna, they sit in the temple. And while they're sitting there in the temple, Lord Chaitanya Maharaj starts speaking about Madhavendra Puri, glorifying Madhavendra Puri. And he said, I heard this from Lord Nityananda, because Lord Nityananda had been on pilgrimage, and he was there before. So he says, once Madhavendra Puri came to Vrindavan, like a sannyasi, he was constantly walking and traveling around. So he came to Vrindavan and went to Govardhan Hill, and he experienced all these ecstatic symptoms. At night he sat down just to get some rest. He sat down and he was chanting on his beach. And at one point a little cowboy came and said, "Here, I brought you some milk. Who are you and where are you coming from and why are you fasting?" And Madhavendra Puri said, "How did you know I was fasting?" And the Gopal said, "Like in my village no one fasts. So when somebody's still fast, I'll bring him food." So Madhavendra Puri took this milk from this little cowboy, and the cowboy ran away and said, "I'll be back to get the container, get the jar." And he drank this milk, and at the end of the night he couldn't sleep, but he dozed a little at the end of the night. And then in a dream, the same boy came to him and took him by the hand and said, "Please come with me." He took him to a place in the jungle and said, "Here my body is being hidden. This was hidden by the Muslims when not by the devotees, when the Muslims attacked. So the Muslims attacked, so they hid Gopal in the jungle. So when I've been lying here for so long time, being tortured by the wind and the rain and the scorching heat, so you please come and take me away from here and put me on top of the hill in Govardhan." So Madhavendra Puri, he woke up and he could understand that actually it was the boy who brought him milk was not just a cowboy, but it was the cowboy. It was Gopal. So he was lamenting how I had darshan of my Lord and I didn't even recognize him. So, but he was of course completely ecstatic, just been with the Lord. So next morning he went and he told the villagers that I had this dream. And then we can just that's how people are in India, or were in India, maybe we should say. When a sadhu says something, okay, let's do it. Because somebody come here and said, "I had a dream, there's a deity place somewhere in the forest, I could go back to sleep." So, but they were completely, what can we do? So they brought all kind of axes and whatever, and went into the jungle. And there they found Gopal. And the most strong men, they lifted Gopal. Gopal was very heavy. And they brought him on top of Govardhan. And there they made the whole installation ceremony of Gopal. First they found a very big rock and they made that into an altar and they put something behind, so Gopal had a little altar there. And spontaneously the whole village just brought all their all what they have of boga, flour and milks and whatever. They brought everything they had in the house, everyone in the village. And then they made a huge Anakuta ceremony. And there was so much food. There was 10 brahmanas coming and they were cooking the sabjis, and there were so many brahmanas cooking the rice. And then the next day, the next village says, "Hey, we also want to." So they brought all their boga, this village. And again they had, so for many, many days, they had one Anakuta ceremony after the other. And Madhavendra Puri, he would practically not eat. Only at the night, as mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he will take a little milk preparation. So being completely absorbed in serving Gopal so directly. Because of this absorption, Gopal at once again appeared to him in a dream and said, "Still my body is warm from all being scorched by the sun for so long time. So can you please go to Malaya Hills and bring me some sandalwood?" So he said, "Oh, I don't know if he answered, but he did." The next morning he went and walked towards Malaya Hills. And on the way he came to Ramuna. And he went to the temple, the Ramuna temple, and he saw Gopinath. Completely mesmerized of the beauty of Gopinath. And then he saw the Pujari coming in with the preparation with some boga. And he heard from them, this is the famous Amrita Kiri. So you know what Amrita means, right? Nectar. So this is, and it was probably mentioned, it's unique in the world. There's nothing like this in the world, the kheer they offer to Gopinath. So Madhavendra Puri, he thought, if I could maybe, without asking, someone would give me some of that kheer, I could taste it and then I could prepare the same for Gopal when I come home. And then immediately he condemned himself. How can I be so lusty? Want to enjoy before the Lord have enjoyed the Bhoga. So I was being lusty over it, even though his motive was very pure, but that's the nature of the devotee. So he said, how can I be so lusty? So he left. And he sat in the village and at night and was just chanting. Then Gopinath, he appeared to the Pujari in a dream and said, by my tricks, you did not see it, but I hid some pots of this kheer. You please go to the altar now, and you take that and bring it to this person called Madhavendra Puri. So again, if we had a dream like that, most likely we would go, okay, next, go back to sleep. But this Pujari went to the altar, took his bath, took clean clothes and tilak, everything, went to the altar, and behind the altar, as Gopinath had explained, he found, I can't remember, some parts of this kheer too, at least one part of kheer. And he went out in the village at night, and he called, Madhavendra Puri, is anyone here named Madhavendra Puri? You're the most fortunate person. Gopinath has stolen kheer for you. So Madhavendra Puri, he came out and said, somebody's calling my name, and he went out, and this Brahmana, Jai said, oh, this is Gopinath, he stole this kheer for you. So Madhavendra Puri sat down and became completely ecstatic eating this kheer. And he took the pot and broke it in many pieces, and every day he would eat a little piece of that pot even. And then he thought, after eating the kheer, he thought, next morning everybody will hear about this, and they will come and glorify me. So being humble as a devotee, he left, and he went to Jagannath Puri at night. But when he came to